Welcome to the MBD podcast, the show where we dig into what's actually working or not when it comes to scaling business. And today's host has definitely been there, so I'm going to let him go ahead, introduce himself, tell us where you've been, where you're at, and take from there.
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me. Good to see you. My name is Dave Dexter. I run a company called RevScale Partners. RevScale provides fractional sales leadership to the companies that need it, also sales coaching and training. We build metrics for companies and guide and coach salespeople through the process.
Awesome. So when you first start working with the company and you're going down the sales route with them of helping them scale, what are areas of opportunity that you find where they're failing when they're really trying to grow? What's kind of your process?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I deal with companies that are in the position on a fractional part where they need some sales expertise, but they're not yet ready to bring in a full-time CRO, right? Or they need
Mhm.
some reinforcement of what their current plan is. So we're going to kind of fill the gaps if it's a smaller company. If it's a larger company, every time you get something rolling, it's always great to get outside opinions and outside coaching. I could bring different perspectives into people and so forth. Some of the questions I ask, which I think is what you were asking. What's your current process? What do you like about it? What do you wish was different? How are your salespeople performing? What do they need? And so forth, and build a coaching plan around it.
Awesome. And then, so you start building that, you get those answers back. Then where do you start looking? Like, what kind of is the process where, like, okay, kind of what everyone's saying, right? We want to scale our business. We have this team. We want the golden leads. How can you get that for us? And how can you make these guys close 50% of the time?
Well, golden leads. I think the days of Glengarry Gun Ross and
Yeah,
ABC always be
exactly.
closing are long gone. You know, coffee is for
Coffees
closers
for
and
closers.
ton of it, right? So I even have the coffee cup behind me. But yeah, I think as you know, with any sales process, it's the same. You've got to go through discovery, find out where something is and where a company is before you can point a direction to go. You've got to kind of do the exam like a doctor does. The doctor does a diagnosis before exam; it's malpractice. Same here. Yeah, you've got to see where the opportunities for improvement are. Once you get that, you coach to those with the salespeople. You coach the C-suite. Try and put systems in place for not only accountability but for talent as well. Firm believer. There's two aspects to sales. There's the technical, the science part of sales, and the art of sales. You kind of need them both. And some companies are good at one, not the other. Kind of bring in two layers.
Well, interesting you said coach to C-suite, and I feel a lot of companies they don't do that. So, like, what kind of do you do in order to help coach the C-suite so that way you get them on board, buy into the plan, and then have them for support for the SDRs?
Sure. You find a lot of that in companies that are, starting to grow. The founder is rightfully so extremely proud of their product and their service. It's their baby. They love it. They own it. Sometimes they can't let go, right? So the founder was really good at getting it to that point, but then they came to the realization I need different expertise to go from point A to point B to point C and D, right?
Hmm.
Getting a founder to let go and step back and work on, the things that brought them to where they're at and let the next round come in, the people that are experts at doing sales, operations, and so forth, take the reins. Sometimes it's a challenge. You got to get them to let go and let people move on with it. It's hard.
That's hard. And we've come across that many of times where we want to
Yeah,
scale. They want to scale the business, but they want to be in every aspect of the business. You're like, this is not how it
yeah,
works. Like, you shouldn't.
that's
You
right.
you have to sleep at some point. Like, you can't manage sales, finance, accounting, marketing, operations, and then the product build. So it's it only
100%
goes
right.
so
There's a
far.
system.
Mhm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, right? Yeah. There's a system. You say there's a system.
There's a system that's really good for smaller companies under about 40 mil called EOS, entrepreneurial. I always have trouble with that word. Entrepreneurial operating system, in which casts roles and responsibilities for different segments of a business. So there's a time when that founder has to move to the visionary, the person that paints the grand picture and so forth, and turn it over to the rest of the people and say, here's my vision. Let's make it so. And then let that crew of people make it so. I equate that to an airline company, whoever it is, says, get the plane from Fort Lauderdale to Burbank. And it's the pilot's job to get it there. The company doesn't sit in the cockpit with them and go, you're at this altitude, you need to be here. Let the pilot do the job, give them the direction and go. So it's tough.
Yeah, and how do you, say you're a solopreneur and then or let's say you have a couple SDRs. How do you find and measure the success of the SDR, of the sales team?
So I'm a big believer in leading and lagging indicators. And to simplify it, leading indicators are the actions you do. Lagging indicators are the result of what you've done. So leading indicators are things like what's your closing ratio, calculate closing ratio, average ticket, and so forth. There's a math formula we put together that leads you towards here's how many calls you have to make, here's how many proposals you have to do based on closing ratios and so forth. Here's the actions you have to take today to impact 30, 60, 90, 120 days down the road. A lot of sales teams, and I'll equate it to driving a car, look at the sales today and go, I nailed it today. Like, no, you nailed it 30, 60, 90, 120 days ago. You're driving your car by looking in the rearview mirror.
Mm.
If you do the leading indicators, you're looking out the windshield, looking at the gauges and pointing the car in the right direction, your rearview mirror picture, which is going to be your sales today, is going to look great. If you're driving yourself off in the woods and looking at the rearview mirror while you drive, you're going to hit a tree and nothing works. Pay attention to where you're going and what you're doing today. It'll result in gold.
Yeah, that's a big point because I feel a lot of people, they start getting success and they stop doing what they originally
Right.
were doing to generate success. It's like you have that star performer. All
Yeah.
he's doing is, it's not that he's getting new business, it's that he's upselling old business or renewing contracts, and it looks good, but it's the new guy that you're trying to help show like, no, this is what you got to do to move forward. Don't look in his review mirror in a sense and use that as a way. You got to look at front of your windshield. And do you find, of the channels, you mentioned calls, what do you find still that has average success? Are you seeing it across all channels still? Are you seeing any that are oversaturated for the sales team where, things are harder now than they were before?
What do you mean by channels, Jason?
So say you've got, they're doing emails, they're doing calls, you're running outbound campaigns, you've got inbound with, paid ads or something.
Outreach. So yeah, sooner or later, everything old becomes new again, right?
Mm-hmm.
People rush to the newest thing and they think it's a panacea. I think successful marketing, which is kind of what we're talking about here, right? And outreach, because you're marketing yourself to an audience, trying to get them interested in your product, is a multi-touch sort of event. Still, always has been. Give you another example. You move to a town, go to a grocery store for the first time, right? And the checkout clerk says, Jason, why are you here today? Aside from the obvious fact you're out of food, they're wanting to source you and find out how you got there. Well, you don't know. You're going to blurt out something just to get the interaction done with, but maybe you sell their newspaper, the radio, the TV, the billboards, whatever. It's a culmination of exposures that brought you in. So go back to your original question, email, phone calls, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm a fan of email. I'm a fan of phone calls. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, all done with the right steps and right quality. With LinkedIn, I detest when I get a connection request from somebody and I accept it. And immediately I call it pitch slapped. I get pitch slapped right off the bat with an automatic message. Get out of my inbox, man. It's just terrible. If you're going to reach out on LinkedIn, I had one guy, and just like you, I get a few emails, right? I had one guy send me an email and said, Dave, on LinkedIn, on the bottom of your LinkedIn profile, everybody's got recommendations, right? He said, I saw what so-and-so said about you. I thought that was really interesting. I'd like to get your take on it. I had no use for this guy's product. I called him anyhow. I want to learn how he did that because it was customized. It was to the point. The guy put in some work as opposed to pitch slapping, right? So everything works if it's done the right way.
That's true. I also know how to automate those things.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do, right? But
Yeah, that's how we connected. Actually, it was
that's right.
automation.
Yeah.
Um,
But
but
yours was automated, and it wasn't just some canned dribble that came across,
yeah, I know.
right? It had a little more
We're
function to it than
using,
that.
yeah. There's a lot of techniques like we use, and to do that right, like we use AI. We build out things. We have the AI
Yeah,
agent look at your posts, and then it brings in real information to what's been going
that's
on
right.
to create the conversation.
Yeah.
So we're at that point now where it can be hard to almost distinguish between what's someone really writing versus not. with these tools.
But
So, I
some
mean,
of
it's
those are
pretty
done
cool,
well.
right?
Yeah. Yours was
Yeah,
done well. Some are done very poorly.
I know. Yeah. Oh, I know those tools too. Like Lemlist would be one
Yeah.
where it's just automated Spitfire.
Yeah.
This is, you call it a pitch slap because yeah, the InMail is all pitch slaps. It's like,
Yeah.
hey,
It is.
here's a 6 paragraph uh, uh, interaction for you that you're not going to read, where I put some nice emojis in there to look like I'm official, which I know is written by. You're just like, all right, guys, come on, you got to do a little bit better now. We're at that point, but no. So you got the interactions have to be, in a sense, unique and personalized. What you're saying,
That's
regardless
right.
of channel, and that's been true for a long time, right? Since we could first personalize. I remember the days. I guess it would have been, phone calls is kind of where it started, where you pick up the phone and be like, I got a list from, your mortgage sales. I got a list from the title company going, hey, John, did you know that you're pre-qualified? And I used to do that,
That's
right?
right.
And then it went to email, where it's like email blast, and it was like, oh, we can personalize these. Let's use a field merchant. Now you've got this information. Now we're at the point, like, what we're pulling content and being like, hey, Dave, I saw that you said something like this. Give me some feedback. Like, he may have done, or he was doing it manually, because manual used to take 2 hours a day to do these outreach things, and
Sure.
now it's like, now I'm not even looking at stuff. It's just going. It's running in. My calendar's booking up. So things are a lot different. But that personalization, like you're saying, and unique content.
It's core. I mean, somebody gets an email or an in-mail, and you get so many of these. It's like
Yeah, I know.
person gets it and goes, "Why do I want to?" You get 7 seconds, man. Why do I want to pay attention to this?
Oh, you give them more time than I thought. 7 seconds is a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And sometimes
I'm
it can be
down to
slow.
like 2 to 3.
I know.
Awesome. So for where you're at with your company, how are you building out leads to help grow your consultancy?
Good. I do a lot of referrals. I do podcasts like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
My referral network's pretty strong. So I haven't done a lot of outbound at all myself yet, but things are growing well. Hitting the targets I wanted to hit a year in, and making the decision what to do for the next step.
So it's mostly word of mouth from referrals.
Yeah, I got a pretty good Rolodex. So,
That's nice. Yeah, that helps a lot. And then, what are some of the things that you did to build up your Rolodex?
oh gosh, I've been doing this a couple of weeks, as the white hair kind of gives me away, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, just networking, getting out and seeing people. I mean, it's no secret people aren't going to buy from you until they trust you. They're not going to trust you till they know you
yeah,
on a connection level of some sort. So, I did my share of the rubber chicken circuit, rubber chicken dinners and
yeah.
that sort of thing. And just, I think you help people as you go along through the way and they spread the word.
Yeah, yeah, I feel the same. I'll give a lot of free advice and help, just so
I
that
do
way
too.
people
Yeah.
will, next thing you know, like, hey, I got this person, or I got this family member, I got this friend, and next thing you
Yeah,
know, they're a center of
of course.
influence, and boom, it explodes from that point. So it's like,
That's right.
but if you're not out there, if you're not looking forward in that through your windshield, and you're looking at your rear view, going, man, I can't get any more sales, it's not going to
Yeah. Yeah.
happen.
When you're hitting trees, man, you got to look forward.
Yeah. Awesome. So if someone's listening, trying to scale right now, what's one piece of advice you wish you had earlier on?
One piece of advice I wish I had. Don't overthink it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I tell this story to salespeople all the time. I'm going to condense it because I know we don't want to be on this for forever here, right? But I kind of look at sales and that word again, entrepreneurship and opening a business kind of like a baseball player, right? So if you're a baseball player and you're a 300 hitter, you're doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You're eating some good food, you're making some money. People want you to sign their hat, all that stuff, right? So let's break it apart what a 300 hitter is. When they go to the home plate, their only job, unless it's something wonky for strategy, their only job is to hit the ball and get on base. That's it. One job.
Mm-hmm.
300 hitter gets that done 3 times out of 10 and say don't do their job 70% of the time. So I tell salespeople and tell people opening your own business, don't be afraid of swinging and missing. Be a 300 hitter. That's it. It's that simple. Don't be afraid of your own possible success.
Awesome. And where can people connect with you or learn more about what you're doing?
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn, Dave Dexter. My website is revscalepartners.com. Finding me on LinkedIn is easier. Dave Dexter is easier to spell, and find. And I've got a connection there as well. So appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks, Jason.